But today I'll be talking about perception and how we perceive the world and understand the world around us. So it's not going to be death by PowerPoint, and hopefully it's going to be interactive because I'll get you guys to join in and you can pop stuff into the chat. And so I'll start now by sharing my slides, if that's okay with you, Jamie.
That's perfect. Thanks, Toy, and I'll let you know if it all pops up.
Okay, thank you. So let me just share my screen.
Okay, we can see your screen.
Okay, great.
And the presentation is now there for us.
Thank you. So I'm just going to play a little video.
Look at the cute dog.
So this is the introduction to perception. And one of the questions I'm going to start with is, what do you see? And you guys can pop that in the chat. And Jamie, if you could just read them out to me, please.
That's no problem.
Thank you.
If everyone here just wants to pop their observations in the chat from the video. So we've had Nia Thomas, who said, I always see the young woman looking away.
Mm.
Angela has said that too. Michelle has said a face, hair.
Okay.
We've had Gail say, at the moment, a young woman, sometimes an old hag.
Okay.
Jay's also saying the same thing as many others, a young lady, but also a horse as well. Thanks, Jay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Sari has said, I see both the young and old woman.
Mm.
And Peter has said, we see a guy eating something.
Oh, okay.
Shannon's also said a lady.
Okay. So
Um,
we've got a big consensus of a lady, whether young or old.
yes, and then Tash has just added one final comment again. I'm really trying to see an old woman, horse, or guy eating something, but I just see a woman looking away.
Okay. Okay. So usually when I show this picture, um, people do say that they see the woman looking away, and you see a side profile of her. She looks youngish, and she's got um, a feather sticking out from the front of her hair. What do you see, Jamie?
I thought I saw like some sort of butterfly at one point, but then I saw the nose, and then that kind of sold me on someone looking away again.
Okay, okay. And do you see one or two?
Do I see what? Sorry, one or two?
Do you one woman or two women's
It's just one,
faces?
one,
Just the
one for
one.
me. Yeah.
Okay. And unfortunately, because while I'm doing the presentation, I can't see everybody's faces, but feel free to um, come off mute and say whether you see both or whether you just see the one. Anybody?
It's okay, Suri, you can come on in.
Okay, yeah, I know I can see both. I can see the old woman. So on the nape of the neck of the young girl, that's the
Yeah.
mouth of the old woman.
Okay.
And the ear is the eye of the old woman. That might help
Yeah.
people be able to see it. And the jawline is her nose.
The jawline of the younger woman is
Yeah,
the nose of
it's
the
the
older
nose of the
woman.
older woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all those who could see the younger woman, can you now see the old woman?
We have got a
Older
few
woman?
people in the chat that said they can see both as
They
well.
could see both. Okay. And one of the questions I wanted to ask was, sorry, Jamie, did I cut you up there?
And I was just going to say, and some people are saying that they can't see it at all still.
Yeah. And that's the thing about perception. We could all be looking at the same thing and seeing totally different things, as well as somebody mentioned they could see a horse. So would you like to describe that and where that is? The horse.
I think that might have been Jay. Jay, do you want to describe where that came from, or would you prefer to just not elaborate on that?
No?
No, Jay has said that he can now see the two women now. So
Okay. Okay. That's fine. So again, it's about the assumptions we make because so these are just lines, just to let you guys know that this is not a picture of anything at all. They're just lines put together, and um, and we can interpret them in different ways. So we're all going to be looking at the same things, but we all see the way, the world differently. And that's because of the way we're wired in terms of how we take in information, which senses we lean on more. But as well, when you have a discussion with other people, like we've just had now, those who couldn't see um, the older woman, with a bit of explanation from those who could see her, they got to see that. So again, it's about perceptions changing with awareness. So once you get a lot more information, then you can see a different picture or see what the other person is talking about. So I've added some more information, and feel free to put it in the chat or speak in terms of now, can you see a lot more now that there's some shading added to it?
Yeah, hi, sorry. I don't seem to be part of the chat group, so I can't make any comments. Oh yeah, sorry, Jamie's just picked that up. Yeah,
Go on.
okay. Yeah, no, I can't make any comments. I've been removed from the chat
Yeah,
along
me
with
too.
two other people.
Yeah, I've been removed as well, Angela.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
too.
sure why.
Shall I leave and come back in?
Yeah, if you want to try and leave and come back in, it doesn't look like anything's been removed from our end, so I'm
Okay.
not sure what happened there, to be honest.
Okay, I'll try that. Thanks.
Do you want me to wait?
Yes, please, Toyin, if that's okay,
No
just for a
problems.
moment.
That's fine.
So we have got a couple of comments saying yes, that helps to see more. One comment, no, I can still just see a younger lady.
Ah, okay. So while we're waiting, I'll just share with you other things that people have seen. So others have seen a bird, and that would be, I don't know whether you can see, oh no, it's not showing because I usually have a pointer, but it's not working. And that's just over the head of the younger woman as she's turning away, so that scarf, they could see the outline of a bird. And also, some people can see a penguin. Other people have seen a lion. And it's all about the way people perceive things. We could all be looking at things the same way, but because of our past experiences, the way we're feeling, the way we've been brought up, we get to see certain situations in totally different ways from other people. Is everybody back in now?
Yes, everyone's back now, Toyin, and they can comment, so that's a good sign.
Great. So the next thing that I'm gonna, let me just get to here, is I'm gonna ask everyone to drop in the chat, what are the things that you observe when you meet someone for the very first time? The observations we make, because I'm going to encourage us to have a discussion about the difference between an observation and a judgment. So, what are the observations that we make when we meet somebody for the very first time?
So Ashley started the conversation with what they say, Toyin.
What they say.
Yep. We've got quite a
Okay.
few more comments coming in. Their body language, facial expressions.
Okay, so can you elaborate on body language? And can you elaborate on facial expressions, please?
So it was me that made the comment about body language.
Yes.
So if they were so with body language, do they look like they're defensive? Do they look like they're interested? Have they got their arms crossed? So do they have a kind of open body language? And as regards to facial expressions, I would say that kind of almost mimics what their body language is. So do they look friendly? Do they look like they want to be crossing your path?
Okay.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
We've
Any
got a
more
few more
comments?
comments. Yeah, we've got what they look like. So a general observation there. Michelle has said their height. Nearest also said facial expression and how that suggests their attitude and behaviour.
Okay.
Then we've got a couple more, clothing and whether they make eye contact.
Okay. And when you say clothing, what do you mean?
I think Gail is typing, so Gail might elaborate on that point. Feel free to jump in on the mic as well, Gail, if you want to.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, Gail's elaborated and said how they are dressed casually, formally, or in uniform.
Okay.
And I think
Thank
that's
you,
all the
Gail.
comments, Toyin.
Okay. Right. So the next task is, again, when you meet that person for the first time, what judgments do you make? And feel free to pop in the chat, feel free to speak.
Okay, so Peter has said that he makes no judgments at all.
Okay.
Nia has said they are friendly, aloof, arrogant, interested, approachable, safe, and unpredictable.
Okay.
Angela's commented whether I think someone is smart, confident, or friendly.
Okay.
Got a few more people coming in. Got a few more comments. How they come across, same as Nia. Whether I think someone is straight, gay, non-binary, trans.
Okay.
It's a bit soon for judgment as such, so similar to Peter earlier. And Alex said how approachable they are.
Okay. Thank you.
We've got one more comment that's being typed, so
Yeah.
I'll let you know as soon as that comes through.
Okay. So the people who said they don't make any judgments at all, do you just have a blank, how do you approach a person? How do you know to approach a person? Because judgment's not, just to say, making judgments is not always a bad thing, because judgments can save your life, basically. I mean, we grow up making judgments about certain things because of past experiences. So, like as a child, you'll know not to touch certain things because fire is hot, certain things are cold. You make judgments after experiencing certain things. So, like I said before, judgments are not always a bad thing.
We've got a few extra comments.
Mm,
Saree said, I was going to say that although I would try not to judge, subconsciously I would be. Ashley said it depends on the circumstance and environment I am in.
yeah.
We've got three or four people typing at the moment.
Okay. Because we
Ange
always go on.
Oh no, go on.
Okay.
Sorry, Tori.
I just wanted to say we make judgments about things every day in terms of what we're going to eat, what we're going to wear, how's this going to look when I go out, if I have my hair up like this, that sort of thing. So again, it's all dependent on how you're feeling at that moment, or what's happened before, or what you think is going to happen.
So Angela's commented something very similar to what you said, Toyin, about I think we make judgments all of the time.
Mm,
Peter said that he prefers to use the word awareness as opposed to judgment for such things as triggering flight and fight syndrome.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great.
And Angela's put a final comment in there about there's a difference between judgment and decision.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for the engagement. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of put to everyone and just say there is a difference between an observation and a judgment. And sometimes we mix the two up. And it is, and I'm going to use the word being self-aware, it is about being aware when you're doing that. So an observation is objective, it's fact. So when you meet, for the example I use, when you meet somebody for the first time, you're looking at the facts. So hair color, which everybody's going to see. Somebody has brown hair or black hair, blonde hair. Color of the skin, that's fact. Whether they're wearing a t-shirt, what color the t-shirt is, red, yellow, that's fact. Whether they're wearing trousers or a skirt, that's fact. Whether they have a ring on or not, that's fact. The color of their eyes, unless they're wearing contact lenses, of course, but it's the color of their eyes, that's fact. And then from there, we can make judgments. So they're not always fact, because a judgment is subjective, and it could be so it's not necessarily fact, but the way we're wired and the way our brains work is that our environments, when we take in information using all our senses, we need to make our world make sense. So we put in certain assumptions. So if somebody's wearing a ring on one of the fingers, it could be a wedding ring, we make an assumption that the person is married, but they might not be married. They might have been divorced. They might have lost someone. So there's so many other things there. And the only way we would know is if we seek to clarify. The other thing is we do make judgments. So somebody mentioned eye contact. Some people might not give you eye contact, not because they're not interested or they're shifty, or yeah, it could be that, first of all, it could be a cultural thing, because in some cultures, you don't give eye contact to people that you respect or your elders. You don't give eye contact. So they will look, people tend to look just below. It could be due to nervousness. There's so many different reasons why people don't give eye contact. Body language is not always what we interpret it to be. People take in information in different ways. So, for instance, I could be speaking to a group of people and I see somebody looking down. So, say you were all sitting down in a room and somebody was just looking down. Now, I could make that assumption or that judgment that that person's not paying attention or not being interested. But it could be just the way they take information. It could be their personality type. So what if they're looking down, it's because they don't want the distractions. And they tend to concentrate better by just, looking away from anything that's distracting and just listening to what somebody is saying. Feel free to make comments, put stuff in the chat or speak.
I think a comment from earlier, Toyin, as well, is Alex has said that I think we have unconscious biases.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And Gail has just commented that is often the case, especially for neurodiverse people. The eye contact can be overwhelming.
Yeah. Anything else come through?
No, that's it. I think
Does
people are
anybody want to
keenly
make?
listening.
Oh, bless you. Does anybody want to make any comments, or does anybody want to speak rather than drop something in the comments?
Nope, I don't think we've got any hands up. If anyone would like to jump in, please do feel free whenever Twinkie kind of gives that prompt.
Yeah, no, I've got just a quick comment on the eye contact thing. I think I put that in.
Yeah.
I think I use it as an indicator for precisely that reason. So like if they are making eye contact, what might be the reasons if they're not,
Yeah.
So you can then kind of think, okay, well maybe there's a bit of neurodiversity or there's nerves or as you say, cultural issues. I think
Yeah.
it's an indicator.
Yes. Yeah. And that's great, because then it gives you that opportunity to ask the question and clarify. And that's one of the things that I would encourage everyone to do, is when something, there's something that you're not clear on, is to always clarify and make sure that you know, what you're thinking is actually what is actually happening. We make a lot of assumptions, and that's just, as I said before, the way we're wired. Our brains need to make everything make sense, and you might see a little bit even with the use of AI now. That's why you have to check it, because you can ask certain questions and it will try and make things make sense. So it will just throw things in to make it more plausible. Whether it's right or wrong, the information it's giving you is not necessarily, you know, not everything is necessarily true. So it's always good to seek to clarify before you make decisions. This is an example of how we try and make things make sense. So can everybody read this?
I can see that toy. Can everyone else see that on the screen? Yeah, we got a thumbs
Yes.
up from Angela. Thank you
Right.
all.
Is there anybody who'd like to read that out?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Newsflash, Cambridge University research. According to a research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place. The rest can be a total mess and you can still read. It wouldn't, I guess, be a problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And so you can see that everything, you know, everything that you see in every situation when you're having discussions with people, always seek to clarify before you make any judgments or decisions. Because sometimes we see people or we see particular situations, and that can stop us from some of the opportunities that we have available to us because we've made certain judgments or certain assumptions about certain things. So I'm just going to leave that with you in terms of make sure that we we understand that we see the world as we are and not necessarily as it is. And we can disagree and both be right because we're looking at different standpoints and we're coming with different experiences. But I always encourage people to take that pause when you're feeling or thinking something. Ask yourself, where is that coming from? Thank you. So, any questions or comments? I think I'm going to try and get back to my camera now, Jamie.
Yep, no problem. Thanks, Toyin. Hopefully you can kind of come back.
Yeah, hopefully. Right, I'm back.
There
Yay.
we go.
So hi
So,
guys. Any questions, comments?
so Alex has popped in the chat. We basically tried to fill in the blanks. It's good to pause and check out with people.
Yeah, yeah. And you'll find that with, especially if you have clients, it's always good to ask the questions. before we make assumptions. And we all do it. We're all human, you know. We're all, you know, we all tend to do that because we've all had different experiences in the past. So we do get those feelings coming up or those emotions coming up, but it's always good to take that pause and ask yourself the question, you know, where's this coming from? Why am I feeling this way towards this? And again, making judgments about certain things sometimes is a good thing, you know, it's not always a bad thing. It's not. That's how you survive. And somebody mentioned fight or flight, but that's that's what your body's geared up to do. So when you're feeling those emotions inside, first of all, your body is doing what it's supposed to do. And then you pause and then you make a decision in terms of, is it something, you know, your body's getting ready and preparing itself if you need to do something drastic. However, you could always make that, you know, decision of what you need to do. Hope I'm making myself clear.
No, I think from my side as well, Toy, and the comment that you made about you can both be right, I think is particularly poignant because I think we live in a society, or we all have an understanding, or many of us do, that it can feel quite argumentative in today's world, and
Yes,
sometimes people, if they feel they're right and someone else feels they're right, they can kind of clash heads and not kind of slow down and look at, you know, why do they think each other are right, and then, you know, potentially come to that conclusion that actually, because of the experiences that they've both had and the way that they've grown up, really they could both be right in a situation. It's not always, you know, very combative about right or wrong.
exactly. Thank you for that, Jamie. And it's also about which bits, you know, when you're having those conversations, or if you have some kind of conflict as well, which bits are fact and which bits are assumptions, and being able to separate those. And usually, when there are arguments or disagreements, it's usually best to start from facts rather and take the emotion out of it. Because we all, like I said, we all perceive different situations in different ways. But let's look at the facts first and agree on those, that these are the facts and these are the facts, and then go on from there. So when I saw this, it came across to me in a particular way. Not saying that that's what you meant to do, but this is how I perceived it. So you can have the discussion from the facts, the factual bits.
And I know Peter, who's on this call from Shubu Residents Association. Peter's role is effectively, he has a huge Facebook page for the residents of Shrewsbury, and one of the big comments and things that come up on there is around the water quality and water safety. And I know that Peter's had a lot of experience with this whole perception front of breaking down the facts and breaking down the perceptions and looking at how
Yeah.
does he communicate with his cohort of people. So I
Yeah.
think that's a great example that you've just given.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody else want to jump in? Anybody else have anything to add to this?
Gail, come on in.
Right. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm reminded of a story of a child who went home in a wet playtime in a central London school, and the head came rushing into me and said, "Where is," I can't remember her name, and I panicked because I didn't know where she was. She was only 8. And she came rushing in a couple of minutes later, clutching an umbrella. And she said, I got this for you, and thrust it at the head teacher, because we had outside toilets in this school. And she wanted the head teacher to be able to go to the loo without getting wet, because it was absolutely bucketing down with rain. But the head teacher didn't hear that. She assumed the child had run out of school and been naughty, and she was in the middle of reprimanding her as I stood there and giving her detention. And when she had got the detention and the head had gone away, I asked her why she had gone. And she told me that she had gone home to do this lovely thing for the teacher. And it stopped me making so many assumptions about children and their behaviour, because it starts there, I think.
Yeah.
When we misinterpret, or we have our behaviour misinterpreted, and we're not in a position to speak back. I think that's a crucial point in making judgments, because it's not helpful.
Oh, thank you for that, Gail. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Oh, I think somebody's writing something. Oh, I can't see. I think they stopped now. Ah, yeah. Oh, thank you for that, Alex. So you're right. It is the power dynamics too between the exchange. Yeah. Yeah. Because I suppose in those times, Gail, teachers always thinking that certain children are troublemakers.
Yeah, that's true. She was quite a lively little character, but she wasn't naughty. She was just herself.
Yeah.
But that often gets subdued. And
Yes.
it is in the face of authority that often people won't speak up if they're not the dominant person, or not the dominant role, not person but role. Yeah.
And this goes on to well, I'll be doing that talk the next time in terms of people's personality types as well, because the way they come across. You might be sitting in meetings or having conversations in groups, and then you've got people who speak a lot, interrupt, and you've got people who don't say much at all. And it's not because uh, one person, that is in the person who's not speaking a lot, is not engaged. It's just the way they take in that information. So some people think to speak. So they need all that information first and then they speak. Others speak to think. So if you can imagine people who come up to you and they just say, just want to run this by you. Uh, I was thinking about this and da 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 da. You don't get a word in edgeways. Thanks for that. And they're gone. And that's because they've talked it through, and that's how they think. They have to verbalize it. Whereas there are other people who need to take in the information, go away, marinate over it, and then share their thoughts. I'm sure you guys can think of people who fit into those categories. But sometimes we do make assumptions that, okay, uh, this person shares a lot and this other person doesn't contribute. They're not very engaged. I think somebody's typing. Is that Nia? Right. Yes, you do have the ability to change how you're perceived. So this is what Nia's written, we do have the ability to change how we're perceived. I have an interest in self-awareness within leadership and perception. It's often in the palm of your hand, but we aren't taught to understand the power we have to change or control how we're perceived. Yeah. We learn things every day, and it is all about, yeah, developing our emotional intelligence. So yeah, I totally agree. We all have the power to change and be more aware of our behaviors and how they'll be perceived. And some of the things that I do ask people I do one-to-ones with is, how do you want to be seen? If you're a leader, what kind of leader would you want to be? And what does that look like? And at the moment, are you exhibiting those behaviors? Because it's all well and good that you want to be seen like this, and you've given me all the characteristics of that particular leader, but looking at yourself, do you think you consistently show those behaviors? So it's asking yourself those questions.
Thanks for that, Nia, and thanks, Toy. And in terms of just a quick question, in terms of what you just touched on around how to, change the way that you are perceived, what would you suggest to people as maybe the first steps that they could take to kind of maybe understand currently how they're perceived, because they might not even know how people perceive them, and then what steps would you suggest them taking to kind of change that perception?
So it's looking at how you are, your personality type. How do you currently respond to certain situations? It's all about your self-awareness. And thank you. um, and that's one of the things that I'll be going on to speak about the next time, is the different personality types that we do have. So some people are more on the introverted scale of personality types, and some people more on the extroverted scale. So it's understanding where you fall along that spectrum, because some people are not overtly extroverted or introverted, and some people are more feeling, where others are more thinking. So it's understanding yourself first.
Thanks, Toyin, and thanks for the comment, Nia, that you've popped in the chat around
Yes, I
the
saw that.
recommended book.
Yeah.
Peter, you've got your hand up. Would you like to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Tammy. Yeah, I was just going to say along that lines, I learned a lot. I spent 13 years as a volunteer for victim support and then studied psychology. And part of the training to become a psychotherapist, I was asked by the doctor to clarify what I felt I was. And I said I was a very approachable guy, very easygoing, etc., etc. So he said, put that to the challenge. And I had 16 fitters who used to work for me. And I had to ask every fitter, was I approachable? And all 16 said no. I then learned by talking to them that what I portrayed, and that come from my childhood, was my mother never liked weaknesses. So you were always very, very strong. So you didn't whine about anything, you got on with it. You could never say to my mum, I'm being bullied. She'd say, go and hit him or go and sort it out. So living my working life as a strong individual, I wasn't approachable because I never give that vulnerability. And immediately I was able to change that, but I wasn't aware of it. So when I used to go to site, I used to walk in and talk to the fitters and perhaps ask them their opinion on something. So I showed some vulnerability. And that was a big lesson for me because I thought I was an easygoing chap who's always approachable, and I wasn't.
And that's a great example right there in terms of getting feedback from those around you, but you want constructive feedback as well, and knowing how to accept that feedback. because again, if you understand yourself a bit better, then you could actually look at it objectively and say, is that a fact? And ask for the facts in terms of what do you mean by that? So I can just clarify and make the adjustments there, which you did. And that's great. That's great self-awareness. Thank you for sharing. Anything else anybody wants to add to this? I'll just share a little bit about myself in terms of my journey of self-awareness. So I had for many, many years, and many, many years ago, I used to be a mental health social worker. So I've got a degree in psychology. I used to be a mental health social worker. I worked in South London, in psychiatric units down there. And then I went into the pharmaceutical industry and spent many years in psychiatry and neuroscience. So even with that, it's been a wonderful learning journey for myself, but also for the people I've come across and the treatments out there. And that's not just to do with drug treatments, but also the psychosocial interventions that are available. And that has been a big part of the work that I do now.